So,
Oh, I see. I see.
okay, so for anyone listening, hello, welcome. This is Lonely United Podcast, episode 1, with May and David. Um, I wasn't sure what to say for like Dko, because it's like he goes by Dko, but it's also David, so I just went with David. But yeah. Anyways, welcome to our first podcast. Today's Sunday. Uh, February 12th. And yeah, we're happy to be here. How are you guys doing?
Oh, okay.
That's it. You gotta be a little bit more descriptive on the podcast.
I went home to visit my parents today in the morning. Not really in the morning, like later afternoon, so right before this. Tried a recipe I saw online. It worked out. I made chicken stock from rotisserie chicken from Costco. Very value. And then my dad made me steak, and my parents ended up getting the Costco white bunny, what is it? The shop by tool,
Oh, the
like
the ice cream one.
popsicle, the one that I was looking at but I didn't
Oh.
get. And then my mom said she really liked it, so I tried one, and it was actually really good. If you ever had like those popsicles from those random convenience stores in China or Taiwan, I guess, it just kind of tastes like that. So it's like very nostalgic tasting.
I want to try it. Every time I imagine like, because the right rabbit candy itself is like really hard, right? So like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine it as like an ice cream form.
I honestly don't taste the white rabbit too much. It kind of just tastes like a slightly sweeter version of a vanilla popsicle, but it tastes like one of those popsicle flavors from Asia. I don't know how to describe it,
I might have to try it.
but the popsicle itself is like, you know how the dimensions of those Korean popsicles, like the Korean coffee popsicles,
The Korean.
kind of, sort of. It's like, so it's basically like the same cylinder shape and size. But it's pretty good. I liked it.
Nice. Nice. What about you, Diko? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I just recently getting back into my hobby of mechanical keyboards.
Oh
So,
no,
yeah.
not again.
Well, it's not like, I mean, nowadays there's a lot of good boards that are not like
Super expensive.
literally breaking your bank. So, yeah. Today
No, go ahead.
I'll go second.
No. I was just like, I'm pretty sure you sent me like a keyboard like last night. So I had an idea
did?
that you were getting. Yeah, on Instagram, you kind of tagged me. You were like, I want it, and it's
Oh,
like
was that last night?
Was it, or was it 2 nights ago? Yeah, it was it was
Oh,
last
well,
night. It was last night.
It's actually the board that I bought, but you know, it wouldn't hurt to get a second one, right?
Wait, it's like the same exact one, but you wanted a second
Yeah,
one.
well, that one is like, it's a pre-buy right now, or pre-order. It's like not in stock, so I don't have it yet, but it is something I ordered.
I was surprised too because I looked at it and it was like Transformers themed.
Transformers.
Yeah, if you look at the keycaps, it actually has like the
Oh,
Transformer.
it's just that particular board that the person built.
Gotcha.
But I can customize like whatever keycaps I want it on.
I really wanted to get into it. I just, maybe when I start making money, I just want a really good, nice 75%. Is it 75 or 60% keyboards? There's
Well,
both.
yeah, they both exist.
Yeah. So yeah, probably like a 75% keyboard would be really nice.
I think 75% is that's my personal ideal because it gets rid of all the kind of the useless keys in a sense, where like, you know, I'm rarely ever gonna use like page up, page down. And this one has 75% has all the function keys still and arrow keys.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure like 75% is like less common than like 60%, right? Or is it the other way around?
There are a ton of 60 and 65%. I will say personally, I think there's not a lot of good 75% keyboards out in like terms of like group buys. But I'm like very picky in what I like in keyboards. I'm sure there's a lot out there.
You know who's really into keyboards?
Who?
Lily, right?
Yeah.
I actually know someone who created a TikTok account during quarantine about keyboards, and now she has like a pretty big following, and she just does keyboard stuff for a living, which is pretty crazy. But that was a tangent. What are we talking about today?
We have quite a few list of topics that I could talk about. We could honestly just pick and choose and see whatever comes up, and then just go with it.
Yeah. But
Oh.
how about your day, Martin?
Oh, mine? It's pretty chill. I think I stayed up pretty late last night. Ever since Hogwarts Legacy came out, I think I've been trying to get that game out of the way. But that game is one lengthy game, I'll say.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, not too much. A little job hunting, a
that's
little streaming as well, content creating. Actually, stepped out and tried to do like I'm not sure if you guys saw it already, but like a Hogwarts Legacy tip video. And I
Oh
think-
yeah, I saw one of I don't know if you posted more than one, but I saw one has like 21 views now.
Yeah. So it was like my first time actually like having time separately to audio record for a video and then having to edit that into the video. And it was something outside my comfort zone. And
Oh wait, it has 27.5K.
yeah, it's I woke up today and I was like, what is going on? Why am I getting so many comments?
See what I tell you? These are the
Congratulations.
videos that do well.
Yeah, so I was surprised, but yeah, that's maybe I'll try to make more, but we'll see. It's a slow process.
But I think yesterday when I looked at it, there were like 21 shares. So I guess the algorithm was just like, oh, people are sharing this. Let's.
I think it's because people like
post it.
with these tip videos, people like bookmarking it, and I think
Yeah.
bookmarking is like a huge plus to the algorithm.
Can you see how people bookmarked it? Because I can only see how people shared it from like my perspective.
It's just from people who saved it around it's around 213 people have
Oh damn,
saved
that's
it.
a lot.
So, and I thought it was just, I don't know, I thought the tip was fairly simple. It's just something I missed, so I thought maybe other people might have missed it as well. So,
Yeah, if you missed it, other people probably missed it.
yeah. But you know how like comments, there's always people who are not the nicest. They're like,
yeah.
oh my god, I can't believe people are putting generic and easy tips and tricks on here. Like, you should know this. You just press a button. And I was like, I don't know. Social media's weird.
Yeah. Always gonna be mean people out there.
Yep. But yeah. Well, I guess let's talk about our first topic here. I guess I should just say, how do we feel about milk alternatives? Because there's quite a lot out there. And for some of us lactose intolerant people, yeah, that's the only way we can enjoy dairy.
Is Dko the only non-lactose person here?
I guess so.
Oh wait, you're not lactose intolerant? I feel like I should know this.
I mean, so I feel like it's to the extent where you can drink it without any like major consequences.
Yeah, I think I'm not as good as you with milk, but I like to say I'm lactose sensitive more than lactose intolerant, because I feel like there are.
I feel like you're lactose intolerant.
No, like straight up, certain things will trigger me. Like straight up milk, super bad. I will shit my fucking pants. But
Okay, so you're lactose intolerant.
Yeah,
but
you're lactose
but if it was like cheese on certain cheeses on pasta,
Ah.
certain cheeses, I'm like completely okay with. Like Parmesan, perfectly okay with.
But how did you even find that out? Did you like just test it?
No, actually, when I was in like high school, I always get like stomach aches because I didn't know about lactose intolerance at the time. So Adiko went to the same high school as me. So you know how we have like cartons of milk at the cafeteria every day?
Oh yeah, we had those too.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
very generic ones.
Yeah, the boxed ones. Well, I would always drink them. And then I would wonder why the fuck is my stomach hurting, like my class right after lunch period. And
You
then
know what?
it took me
Low-key,
like
me
2 whole
too.
semesters to figure out.
You want me to share a fun fact about Parmesan cheese with you real quick?
It's lactose. It's very lactose. Low on lactose. I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
is that why?
extremely low.
Yeah.
Parmesan has a maximum lactose content of 0.10 milligrams per 100 kilocalories of a product.
She.
Oh shit.
So it's considered safe to eat for those with lactose intolerant.
You know what that means?
So that's probably why.
Pile it on my pasta.
So you're intolerant.
I don't want to be intolerant.
You're in denial right now.
I am in denial. I'm always in denial about this. I don't know.
Honestly, it could have been worse.
Could be worse. No, there are other cheeses that like have more lactose in it that I can still eat in moderation. You know.
Yeah, name one.
Let's see. Mozzarella, but I don't know how much lactose is in mozzarella. If I'm gonna be
Okay,
honest.
well, I just asked you to name ones that with very little or a lot of.
I would have to look this up. I don't know all of the cheese lactose intolerance at the top of my head.
At least you
Hmm.
didn't go to a college that had their own farm and made their own milk for their own ice cream, and then always get a milkshake after your last class of the day, and then wonder why your stomach was hurting a lot on your 45-hour, or not 45-hour,
45 hour.
minute,
Hold on.
45-minute drive back home. I was like dying in the car.
Why would you not?
Because I didn't know, I
suspect?
wasn't sure I was lactose until like sophomore year of college. And honestly, I should have known the milk or the ice cream would have been bad, but our school is really well known for the ice cream and the dairy. And back when I went there, you can use your dining points for ice cream. So for me, it seemed like a good idea back then.
I didn't know you guys also had a dairy farm because NC State also has one, and they're known for their ice cream as well, called Howling's Cow. Howling Cow. Howling's Cow.
I think ours was straight up called the dairy.
Because we're it's a good agriculture school. Let's see.
Same. Well, we started off as an agriculture school. I don't know if
Really?
people are still doing that.
I just don't know much about UMD, but
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I don't know.
But yeah, here I pulled up
Speaking of
I pulled up the list of all the cheeses and like their percentages in lactose. So cheeses like brie, cheddar, Gouda, and Parmesan all have 0 to 3% lactose in it. So those are considered the safe cheeses for like
Was
the
it cheddar?
lactose. Yeah, cheddar too. I was
So I can
surprised.
eat cheddar cheese without taking lactate?
Well,
Okay,
depends
well,
on how
depends on your
sensitive.
severe-
Yeah.
I can test it.
Yeah, so it's for cheddar it's 0 to 2.1% lactose.
Ah.
So that's pretty good. And
So
surprisingly,
if I have a reaction that means I'm very sensitive to lactose, right?
yeah. I would say so. And then blue cheese apparently it's also 0 to 2.5% lactose.
Blue cheese is meh.
Okay, now the cheeses that have like higher lactose ranges like feta cheese of 4.1%, ricotta
Oh shit.
up to 5.1%, and American, which is up to 14.2%.
14?
Yeah, because you know American
really
American
cool.
cheese is like kind of it's not like a how do I explain? It's like a man-made cheese. So you add like heavy cream and stuff to make it.
Ah.
So it's I don't know how to explain this like in the right way. It's not naturally processed cheese. It's like a
Yeah.
artificially made cheese.
Gotcha.
But I will say American cheese is probably the best cheese on burgers.
Yeah. I really like cheddar too, though.
I like jalapeno cheddar.
Jalapeno. Is that the one they have on Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
They have the.
I think so, yeah.
It's not.
Oh,
ch-
what
it's
am I
not
talking about? I'm
cheddar.
talking about pepper jack.
Pepper jack. Yeah.
I've heard
That is a good cheese. though.
Jalapeno cheddar is also. I like spicy cheese. I
Spicy
think it's really good
cheese.
on sandwiches.
Gosh, I think
How do they make spicy cheese like that?
they just mix it in. I'm
I think
assuming.
they just mince some like jalapenos or whatever spices, and then it's
Lim-
probably at the. I want to say at the end of the cheese product.
Mm-hmm.
making process, because otherwise I think the jalapeno would go bad. Actually, I don't know. I have no clue. I just said some stuff.
I mean, none of us work
Sounds
in the
like
cheese
it.
industry, so I think we're okay
Well, I'm
here.
thinking because spices usually you can get away with fermentation and stuff like that. Because the more spicy it is, though, that's like bacteria can like kind of build up. Bacteria also doesn't really like spice.
Makes sense.
I think I got into cheeses more whenever I found out charcuterie was the thing, and then I've been enjoying the pairing and all that stuff.
I have a question about charcuterie. Was it always a thing, or did it recently become a thing, or did it just recently become a thing for us because we're getting older?
I think
I think it's always been a thing.
yeah, it's
It's
always
always
But it's
been a thing.
more like I feel like charcuterie is it I don't want to say it represents, but I will say I think it's more common for like fine dining or like rich people.
No, I
I mean,
100% agree.
of course there's like cheaper ways to like make them, but if you really want a really good if you want a really good experience with charcuterie, like the more expensive you go, I think it's like a delicacy.
It is. I think it is.
'Cause I've tried one in a fine dining restaurant. It was actually really good.
Yeah, it's definitely rich food, for sure.
How much was the charcuterie board at a fine dining restaurant?
Well, it's more served as like an appetizer sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my friends and I got it's like a classic appetizer board thing, and you can choose the amount of cheese what you want in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say like $50-ish.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, mate, the ones we make are around that same price point, but probably just a lot more food.
Yeah, I feel like we probably get so much more value out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Meats are expensive. Cheeses are expensive too.
Yeah. Isn't there
Especially
like that
the
wheel of
pure
cheese that's like
ones.
1,000?
Yeah, that's a Parmesan.
Oh yeah, a lot of wheeled cheese are really expensive.
If I ever had like that amount of disposable income, I'd buy a wheel of cheese.
I
Just to
really
have.
like cheese.
Just to have. You
Like,
know
and
how
then
some restaurants like have the wheel of cheese and they just like make they fold the pasta
oh yeah,
in that
yeah,
cheese.
yeah. I think I
like,
had that one time.
Yeah.
I had once. It was at Italy in New York.
It looks so extra to me. I don't know how much value it adds to the actual pasta itself.
You know, I thought it would add a lot more flavor, but I don't know if the pasta wasn't hot enough or the cheese wasn't hot enough, but I feel like it didn't taste too different. But you can definitely taste the cheese, but it just wasn't. I feel like I've seen videos where it looks like it's like super cheesy. My experience wasn't like that.
Some cheeses are stronger than others, I would say. Like a lot stronger, like more pungent, more sharp, more delicate.
Yeah, there's a whole world for it. You know, I actually you mentioned it earlier, May, but like seeing it at Italy, I feel like that just like came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, I feel like every big city has an Italy now.
Italy? I mean, I think the first time I've been to Italy was the New York one, and that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So it's been around for a while.
Did I just never notice? I just feel like I just saw
But
it once and it just started appearing everywhere, like a few
I
years
will say,
ago.
I think when I first saw it, I think it might have been unique to New York. So I don't know if the Boston one opened afterwards, and then they just keep opening other locations afterwards. But I only knew about it because the rooftop restaurant Terra was trending on Instagram for a little bit, and I'm on Instagram all the time. So when we went to New York, I just had to go.
Have you been to one, Dko?
No, I didn't even know what that was.
Oh. So like, Italy is kind of like, I think the best way I can put it is kind of like a attraction park for like all the foods and products from Italy. So you like, it's not even a restaurant. You go in and it's like they set it up where it looks like a marketplace with like a lot of Italian things. So like there are like little vendors in the actual Italy itself. Think of it like a giant warehouse almost. And there's like people selling meats, selling ice cream, selling like pasta, fresh made pasta, and there's even like restaurants in there. And like May said, there was like a rooftop one called Terra too. So it's kind of like they're selling you the experience of going into Italy without actually going there.
That's a very interesting concept. I wonder if there's like other variations of different culture for that kind of establishment.
Mm-hmm. See, it's pretty interesting. It is very expensive though, I will say. Going in there, everything. I think they jacked up the prices.
Do you need like you gotta buy a ticket to go inside as well, or it's just like,
No, you just go in.
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's not like Costco where you need like a membership to go in or anything.
Yeah.
And when I said warehouse, it's probably quite a little bit smaller than a warehouse.
So, if you guys put cheese on a sandwich, but you want the cheese to melt, do you guys put the cheese on right after the bread is toasted, or do you guys put it in with toast? Or do you guys do something even crazier, like toast the bread, put the cheese on, and then microwave? What do you think is normal?
I think for me, I just put the. Well, I haven't used a toaster in a minute because I feel like they're so hard to clean out. So, I just kind of put the bread on the stovetop in the pan and then put the cheese on the bread after it's warmed up. But I know nothing about
Oh,
cooking, so
you do like the OG. That's
yeah,
like
I'm,
grilled cheese,
I'm
right?
I actually don't. Now that I think about it, I don't usually eat cheese in my daily diet, so I don't think that's
Oh,
applicable.
well, I'm sure you wouldn't because you're
I mean, even though there are cheeses I can't eat, but I think the most I've done recently is just Parmesan on pasta, right? And so all I do is I don't usually use the microwave. I just sprinkle it on top of pasta when it's basically done, fold it in, and then that's it.
I think the best way is my way. Okay, so if you put the cheese on and then you toast it, I'm talking about like a toaster oven, by the way. You don't freaking put cheese in like an actual. It's gonna melt to the bottom. But if you do that, all the bread below the cheese is not really toasted. So I toast the bread, put the cheese on, let the cheese get kind of warmer, and then I microwave it for like 10 seconds for the finishing melting. Then I don't really lose any of the toasty.
I think I agree with that. I don't see anything wrong for
It's a little bit of extra work, but I think it's worth it. I mean, granted, like it's literally like 30 seconds extra work, right?
Yeah, I think everyone here, well, most of us here would probably put the extra work to make food taste better. I think that's just, well, maybe not May. May might do
general.
it for the convenience. I'm not sure.
I do it for the convenience.
Yeah. But no. But talking about cooking for yourself, I feel like it's so hard to like cook for one person. If it's not like for a sandwich or something or pasta. I don't know. I find it really hard to portion control for one person.
Do you guys ever microwave like a platter of food, but like let's say you put in rice, some meat, and I don't know, some eggplant or something,
Eggplant.
and then you finish microwaving it, and 2 of the 3 things are hot, and 1 of the 3 things are like still very, very lukewarm. And you guys ever get that?
Yeah.
Do you guys know why?
I think it's the way the heat is dispersed when you put in multiple things in the microwave, but I'm not sure.
It is. And then certain foods also like heat up at different rates, I think. So it's kind of
Because
annoying.
I did a little bit of research on that, and apparently it's because some foods are like more. So the way microwave works, like a lot of like these waves like bounce around in the microwave, and each time it bounces, pretty much heats it up, right? Because some of the food is like absorbing heat when it happens, and some foods they just like they bounce more than the others or something like that. And I forget which one's to which, but based on that, that's why some foods, if you microwave multiple, are like less hot when they come out, which is really annoying because And because of that, I actually, anytime I want to microwave rice with something else, I always microwave my rice like a minute or a minute 30 seconds, and then on the same plate I put whatever I was gonna eat it with, and then I microwave it again. Because for some reason, my rice never ever microwaves comes out hot as the thing I microwave it with.
No,
It's really not.
I haven't gone to that extent of like microwaving different things, and then combining it all together later. I just usually just put it all together, and then microwave it for less time, and then I'll like mix it around to like kind of disperse it a little bit. So because something's at the bottom heats up slower too, right? So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then I just mix it up, make sure the people at the bottom are getting some warmth, and then I put it back in, and then do that. But
If I'm gonna mix my rice in with soup, I just put it in together.
yeah, soups are fairly easy to microwave, except for the times where they like blow up. You know, that's
Oh
okay, though.
yeah, if you have like a really fatty piece of meat in there, oh my god, it explodes, man.
Or like any vegetables, honestly. I feel like vegetables, when they get
Oh,
overheated, they just
yeah.
combust. So like I would be microwaving my chicken noodle soup and I hear a bah! And then I look open and it's just fucking carrot juice everywhere. I'm like, mother.
Like bits of carrots just stuck on the sides of the microwave.
Yeah, and I absolutely hate that. That makes me never want to microwave soup.
You gotta get one of
Ever-
those microwave covers.
Yeah.
You guys ever microwave an egg?
No, I've heard
Like-
so many people doing
Okay.
it.
Like a raw egg or already like peeled, hard boiled?
I microwaved a raw egg because I got really lazy during quarantine, and I know that sometimes it works.
Like after
Like-
you crack it, or
Uh,
what are you trying
Well,
to make? A hard
I
boiled
was
egg?
just trying to make like a semi-hard-boiled egg, and then I didn't crack it, I didn't cook it, I didn't put it in water or anything. Actually, did I put it in water? I don't remember, but I put it in the microwave for like maybe 2 seconds. And then-
2 seconds? That will not do
Okay, it
anything.
wasn't actually 2 seconds.
it
was
can't be
maybe,
2
like,
seconds.
15 seconds or something. But it was not a long amount of time. I had done it before, and it somehow I guess I just got really lucky the times before, and it went like it just worked. But this time, I was opening the microwave and I was reaching over to grab the egg, and I feel like it just like exploded. But at that moment, when I was reaching over, so I actually had a scar on my wrist for a while, just from like the steam coming out of the hot egg. That's really. So I never
I would-
microwaved an egg since.
I would never tell anyone about that in my entire life.
Why?
It's such a bad, ill-advised idea to microwave
That's just
an
an
egg.
embarrassing story.
Why?
How do you even start?
I mean, I'm not too surprised because one time May was over, she was cooking dumplings for me. I was taking a nap. I wake up and the whole apartment was in smoke. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And apparently she just burnt the dumplings that she was trying to make.
How do you like burn it because you get distracted, or are you looking at it and you're like, oh shoot, it's burning the entire time?
For me, I think it was fine because it was like when the fire first turned on, the heat wasn't too high, so I could leave it like that for a little bit. But then around the time he woke up, the stovetop was getting a little hotter, and I didn't have enough oil in there. And then
So you
that's
were
when
paying
I-
attention to your like the food the entire time?
I was, but then I like stepped away for 2 seconds, and then that's what happened.
I don't think it's 2 seconds.
No, I thought it was 2 seconds.
I feel like your perception of time is different than
And then,
ours.
and then when he woke up,
Not
it
after you
wasn't
said
like,
2 seconds at the microwave. I don't know.
But
it was like when he, huh?
to be fair though, I feel like when you're cooking in like someone else's kitchen or in a new kitchen, it's really hard to like get used to the stove heat, because I feel like every stove works a little differently.
What's the best type of stove top to have, or like this type? Because
Ah.
I've used all three now. I've used like the electric one or the, I don't know what you call it,
Gas?
Gas.
a gas. I have the gas one at home, and then I use the one Merton has in his studio, and I don't know what that's called either. But it's like
Oh, it's like the spiral thing and it heats up. Do you know what I'm talking about, Diko? I don't know if you had your
I would think that's still electric because it
Electric.
uses electricity to make that hot.
Heat up, yeah. I personally am a huge fan of open stove tops because
Ah.
Like
I
the
feel
gas.
yeah, because I feel like you can do a lot more things with it.
is that
Like
the one I have here?
I think so, the one with open flames. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because
So,
you can
oh,
Yeah.
so
you
that's
could
the gas one.
yeah. So you could do like
And
a
then
lot of different things with it. Like you can flamboy things. You can like use it to char vegetables. I feel like there's like a lot of use cases where an open stove top would be really useful.
I agree with that. Also, it's like I don't know. I feel like it's like a better control of heat. You can actually like see the flame like change, you know,
Yeah, I think if you
instead of like
yeah.
it's all red the entire time.
Mhm.
I used a electric one growing up, so I didn't have any experience using any other type of stovetop.
Mm.
It's just I don't know. I mean, gas isn't supposed to be the best for you, so I'll say that. That's one thing that electric stovetops are better in that sense. I just think it's a preference. But if I ever like get a house, I'm looking for a gas stovetop, and I want a
think
big kitchen
honestly,
too.
I would like my like main stove if there's like 4 of them on there. I want it to be electric, but I would like to have like a portable gas stove on hand in case I wanted to do that. Just because it's a lot cheaper to have electric stove and it's kind of safer.
It is
You
like
don't have to really worry about any like gas leakage or like gas maintenance.
yeah, that is true. Same thing with like if you have kids, right? I would assume if you have kids, you would try not to get a gas stovetop or something like that.
Maybe that's why we always had a electric one.
Maybe.
I mean, at some point when electric stoves came out, it was like really trendy. And like,
Right.
you know, technology
What
stuff.
what's the type where like when you use it, it's not hot when you touch the surface. It's like conducted through something, right? I forgot what's called.
Inductive.
Yeah, inductive
Induction.
stoves. Those are pretty cool, honestly.
I don't think I've ever used one.
They're
Induction, it's like, I think it's really cool that how induction works as well, and apparently, there's like a lot of specific pots and pans you can use on it, and it like it like lessens the smoke produced, so you can have like Korean barbecue with like less smoke.
Yep, I think that's exactly correct. There's like a
Yeah.
certain type of material that will only conduct heat through that stove. So if you use like a regular pot and pan, it won't work.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So pretty.
I mean, that's
cool.
a pro and a con. Like, you have to buy specific some pans for it to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right though. Like I feel like there's like Korean barbecue places that it gets like so gross on the pan after like just one cook through the meat and stuff. Like I think Yokaku, the one we have, which is more like Japanese barbecue, but
Mm-hmm.
me and May went the other day and they like had one round of meat, we cooked it, and then the stove is just like full of like the char and gunk and stuff already, and I haven't seen it like that dirty that fast before.
Interesting.
And then like if we go to like I don't know Chadong, they just like grab that little fucking napkin, the small one that we use for the meal, and they just like wipe it and it's all gone, which
Yep.
is kind of crazy. And
You know what
It's
type
like-
of stovetop my dad would say is the best? The ones like they straight up have in the countryside of Asia, where it's like not even a stovetop; they just have firewood and then like a hole, and then they put their wok on top of the where the firewood is burning.
Oh,
Yeah, my dad would say that's the best one.
what do you even call that? I think it's literally just cook it over fire.
Yeah, it does taste like pretty good though.
I think so too. I think it's really, especially when you're like grilling meat on top of that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I feel like nature just kind of helps.
nature.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. Let's switch a little topic here. Let's talk about what life is like now that COVID seems to be, well, knock on wood, but COVID seems to be gone, going away. Um, Everyone's going back out again. Everyone's been partying. I feel like a lot of us has went through some changes through COVID. I think a lot of us we had to stay in, so I feel like a lot of us gotten close over COVID is what I'm trying to say. I know that COVID is over and that people are going out again. How has that affected you guys, and what is it like trying to navigate post COVID?
I think COVID really helped me see who my real friends are, and or like have like a better judgment on some people as well that I didn't know about before. And I'm specifically talking about people who are like, especially when COVID was at its peak and like literally people were dying and they're still like help spreading it. That's what really bothered me about those people, and I don't think I would like to form any connection with them after I knew about that. I mean, things are different a little now because it's more of like the general population that it's like more okay to do now. It's like, you know,
Yeah, I
and
mean
I
it.
think I also, yeah,
It makes sense because you work at a bubble tea store, right? So you're constantly being having to be exposed to other people. So putting yourself, your friends putting you at risk means you're putting everyone else at risk who comes to the store too.
right. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's always like extremes as well. I'm talking about the people who are like partying like every other night,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
going out to clubs and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think it's different if you're like a, I mean, I'm not a, for like, what do you call it? First aid worker? No, it's, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
medical, first response,
Yeah.
something like
First
that?
responder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that, but restaurants or like the food industry in general, like, or people who just need to work, I think that's a okay reason as long as like a lot of the establishments have like safety protocols, like really good ventilation, masks, and frequent hand washing, and like limiting customer interaction, because that's what we used to do as well. I saw a place where they literally rearranged. It's a bubble tea place actually. They rearranged their entire. They had all their tables and chairs. They rearranged it to make it into like a blockade, like so that customers cannot get past through it. And then it was all they bought one of those giant tablets where you can just like self order. And then the way it would work, a few of those tables on the blockade, that was their pickup area, and they would just put it there and then walk away, and then like they're still really far away, but you can still like talk to them, but from like really far away. I actually really like that layout, although it looked really
I think a few restaurants near me still kind of do that, where like some there's like one sushi restaurant that I used to go to a lot, and they actually pre-COVID they recently moved to a bigger location so they can have more indoor dining spots. But since COVID, they're still in that bigger location, but they kind of did a similar blockade. Whereas used to be the front entrance, they kind of made it into a impromptu like ordering window, and instead doing being able to place orders when you get there, you kind of have to place orders online. So I think that eliminated a lot of. They used to have like some part timers doing the cashier and taking orders, and now I notice it's like the owners or whatever just greeting people and then giving them their to go orders.
Yeah, it was actually a huge problem with workers getting COVID because,
I imagine,
yeah, it was really stressful.
How do you guys feel about the fact that there were some people who was like during the peak of COVID they were like going out and partying every day and like just doing the very ill-advised stuff they're supposed to do, the fact that they did end up getting COVID, but they're completely fine afterwards, and there are people who haven't gotten COVID that entire time, but now got COVID near the end of like that era because of people going out, and that eventually everyone, you know how it works with like pandemics, you're supposed to stifle the outbreak a little bit so that it's still gonna occur, people getting COVID, but it's gonna be like at a lower rate, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of unfair, isn't it? Like some people just go out and they're still having fun and they're doing stuff like that. They get COVID, and then they just get over it, and it's just that. But then there's some of us who are more responsible who helps with the pandemic and the outbreak, but we just have to kind of, I don't know, take the blunt of it later on.
I mean,
It doesn't change the fact that I still think that they're really irresponsible and inconsiderate. But, irresponsible and inconsiderate people, that doesn't really... They're not, like, evil, you know? They're not gonna be, like, murderers and stuff like that.
Oh, maybe like 1% of them. Isn't 1% of people like?
like, you think there's people out? There probably are people out there who like just purposely went out, caught it, and then.
Oh yeah, like, there are those random stories where, like, people will, like, freaking lick the freaking telephone pole.
What?
And, like, spread it, or, like, try to get it. Because they thought that, like, COVID was a hoax and stuff like that. And then there's, like, 2 weeks later, there's another story update on them that they got COVID and they were admitted into the hospital because they got it really bad, along with other things. Because who the fuck would lick a telephone
Lick a
pole?
telephone pole. It's like
No, I remember there was a girl who went viral on TikTok because she licked the toilet seat.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's
gosh.
one of them
During
too.
peak COVID. But I'm pretty sure it was a stunt because I think she's still kind of relevant on TikTok now, and she does a lot of like problematic things. But I think she's just doing it to go viral in a bad way. So I'm not sure she actually licked the toilet seat. But in response to the whole like people who went out, I know like people who went out a lot and then never ended up getting COVID during the time, even though like they literally went out the same amount as they went pre-COVID during COVID. But I think a lot of my friends who didn't go out during COVID at all, like towards the end of COVID or like I guess more recently, they started going out more just because they weren't able to before, and as a result, like some of them did catch COVID just because you're going out more is like probably bound to happen. But I think when it was happening like peak COVID and people I knew went out, luckily not a lot of my friends did that. I think like they're pretty responsible, and if they did do it, they like made sure that they weren't staying with any older relatives or family members. It was just people who were like young adults living together, and if they did catch COVID, they would be sure to be very safe about quarantining. But I guess most of my friends are responsible. But I did see like a couple who just straight up like pretending like nothing happened, and I pretty much stopped associating with them. But I think for the most part, most of my friends are pretty responsible, and I didn't really have to do that to too many people.
I think it's like one thing to be going out there and getting COVID, and then another thing to be like doing that and then not telling people that you got COVID or not telling people that you went out. That is.
Oh yeah. That's really bad.
That's so bad, and I've seen that happen.
It's like
so many
next
times.
level bad.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like I literally did not go out during the beginning and middle of COVID. I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't go out, and then the most I like did per week was we would go on Costco runs because we like back then I think we had our whole family was living at home. Minus my older sister, so it was just a lot of people to feed, and me and my younger sister would just do weekly Costco runs, and we kind of make a whole day out of it. We'll like dress up way more than normal people dress up to go Costco. Take photos either inside Costco or like outside a parking lot. And then afterwards, since we were already out and my parents usually don't let us leave the house at all, we'll just go like chill in a random parking lot and just like take photos or just hang out to be anywhere but home.
Nice. Yeah, I think it was good to go out in a safe environment because like being holed up at home the entire time, that was not
Yeah.
it. That being said, I did play a lot of games during that time, so
I got into gaming more so like
right.
Valorant and League of Legends. Like ARAM was my beginning quarantine game, and then it transitioned to Valorant.
I think it was around that time that I think it got closer to Dko and Decent too.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I think you started associating, or like started playing with us a lot around then.
Yeah. It was. I think if I had to like look back and see, I think my friend group from before COVID and then after COVID, it's very different,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that just kind of says like how people change and
Yeah.
stuff through that kind of time period, I guess.
Yeah. There are a lot of friends here that I stopped hanging out with. Not because they're like bad people, but
Yeah.
their groups tended to hang out a lot outside in club settings and stuff like that. So it was really just hard to like keep up with them because I couldn't really meet up with them in person, having my job at stake as well, my source of income. If I get sick, like I can't work. I don't have like a job from work at home, you know. I can't just get sick and risk it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I didn't have a job during COVID.
I did in like the very beginning, and then it was a co-op, so it ended, and then it was kind of really hard at the time to do anything else. I feel like same thing with now in the recession.
Um, I
Timing's
mean,
really bad.
for me, I think I was just stuck in a weird place because I had a contract with a company that was scheduled to start a new job, and it was supposed to be around the time COVID started. But then once COVID started, it was hard to get travel visas anywhere, much less China. So then I was like stuck in a place where I was like, because it was like a teaching job, and I always wanted to go back to China and just teach for a year. That was like a bucket list item, and everything went really smoothly from finding the company to actually getting a position with the company, and it was supposed to be really close, like maybe like a 15-minute bus ride from my grandparents' place, so it was gonna work out perfectly. And then everything happened, and then I was just stuck with this contract I had. And then each year, or like every so often, my recruiter she was really nice about it, but she was like okay, like things are looking like kind of better now, like maybe we'll try again, and I'll do the whole background check, I'll do all the paperwork, and then there's like fees associated with that too that I would get reimbursed later. But I never did because I ended up not going through with the job because it was just too much of a waiting game. But yeah, friend group wise, I think my friend group was pretty solidified because COVID happened for me after I graduated, and I feel like by then, a lot of your friend groups are. I don't know. I would definitely say I'm not as close to my previous friend group just because I think that friend group, a lot of how we got close was we hung out a lot, like we went out a lot in person. So without that aspect of hang out, I think it's just natural. Everyone just kind of drifted away a little bit. And then I think I met more people than I like lost friends. So a net gain of friendship during COVID.
One thing I'll say that I do miss, like during COVID, there was a time where since no one could go out, everyone was playing games together,
Oh yeah.
and I think very fondly back then and think about all the times we were playing like May probably doesn't like this, but like the customs in Valorant, and
It was
just
fun at first. It was fun when, like a lot of people were playing and like a lot of people were new. Um,
I mean, I think we got really lucky with the team balances as well. So we all like both sides always had fun.
yeah, it was. I think I'm just like over that now. It's like it was a phase for me. And the same thing with like Among Us. Among Us was really fun when it first started.
mm-hmm.
Like, remember how freaking easy and fast it was to get a 5 stack or even 10 people for customs,
Oh,
or like
yeah.
10 people for Among Us? It was so fast and snappy. It was like, they want to play, like, literally in 5 minutes, we'll have a full lobby and people would be like let me know if there's more room in like an hour or something.
Yeah.
We had a
Yeah.
freaking wait queue. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
People
but
were
now
just
we're
on.
like whole 30 minutes just to get like one more person for it.
Yeah. And it feels so weird, right? Like being a.
Drastic difference.
Yeah, it feels so weird being like part of the group who like still play games, because I know a lot of people they didn't play games going into COVID, so I
Yeah.
had a general idea that once COVID ended, maybe perhaps they would go back to what they were doing before, right? Which is fine.
Yeah.
But for me, I always like playing games, so the fact that we're still here and a lot of people have gone already, it's kind of like bittersweet, you know. But I do remember playing with everyone and meeting so many new people.
Yeah, I met a lot of people. I met a lot of I feel like I had different eras of friendships during COVID. I had like my traditional friends from college who go out a lot. We still like chat, and I think we played MapleStory a little bit during the beginning of COVID. And then afterwards, I met a lot of creators and influencers, and that was like an era in itself, and that was fun too. We also, that's when, around the end of that era was when we played Among Us and like Valorant. That's when I started gaming more. And then I met Dko through D-Sun, and I think I just played with Lonely United since then.
Yeah.
Wait, Dko, were you always a gamer?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm like as much of a gamer as I was back then. Yes, I was always a gamer in that sense.
I know, I remember. Wait, remember when you, me, and Dusan would always like three stack?
Yep.
3-stack.
Yeah, and we would just tell each other. I just remember so much.
Like 3-stack and then have 2 randoms.
Yep.
Yep,
Damn.
we were like pushing rank around that time. Not
I would
nowadays we just
never.
play for fun, but
I can't. I think I tried 3-stacking with like Selena one time, and if it weren't the fact that like Selena's very, very good at responding to VM in ways that just leave people speechless, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. People are toxic at Valorant.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's always between who's more toxic, Valorant or League. It's actually kind of crazy. But I think Valorant's okay near higher rank if you get past to like Immortal or beyond. It's kind of like people just
Haven't been there.
people are just like all egoing anyways, so everyone just kind of does their own thing. But in like Plat, Gold, Diamond, they're all kind of like, oh, I want to get to Immortal, I want to be so good, and then they get tilted when they don't do well, and they start like venting to other people.
I mean, you know, I think there's less toxic people in Valorant just because there's a less of a chance of a keyboard warrior as in League, because there's no like a public voice chat. Dude, they will just say anything they want. If you get one of those people in Valorant, there's like such a high chance where like if they like get shut down by like someone who like roasted them or something, like they'll shut up. Or like
Oh
it's
yeah.
like you're going 0-20, like they will shut up.
They'll,
Because like they, you know.
they'll wait until the very, very last moment of like when the game ends. They'll just like say something real fast, and then that's it.
Oh yeah. Like, Brimstone, you suck. And
Yeah, and then the
then
game ends, and then that's it.
No
But I
post-game
will
or
say,
anything.
I met a lot of like cool random people through Valorant, and I've never done that through League. Like I one time played against, I don't think it was comp, it might have been comp, I don't know, but we won against them, but it was, their names were the One Direction members.
Oh
And
my
then, like,
god.
as a troll, we just added them, because like the whole game we were like, oh my god, like, we're big fans, you know, just like trolling them back. And then afterwards we added them, and I think they turned out to be a bunch of like teenage girls, and they were really funny. They put on like a One Direction concert for us. I still have the video of it. And then I follow some of them on TikTok and everything, and I think I still follow them to this day. So I don't think I've ever made connections like that off of League.
I think it is like you do form a stronger connection with a stranger through voice than through text, I feel.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
But-
I played League for like I can actually say this now. I played it over a decade,
Oh
but
my
so
god,
I've
you're
I've made
so
my fair
old.
share of connections.
Mhm.
So I can't really say which one I made more connections with. I mean, I'll say Valorant. I made more real life connections,
Mhm.
but for League, I definitely made more online connections. Where there's definitely some people I haven't met yet.
Gotcha.
Can you imagine League with voice chat though? I know why Riot doesn't do it.
It'd be
I
so
couldn't
toxic.
at first. I mean, they tried at first, actually. I remember it was called League Voice, where you can actually talk to your.
Oh wait, they don't still have that?
Well, League Voice now is more. It's only for your party, like when you
Uh-huh.
queue up together. But it
Oh,
used to be
really?
where you can talk. That didn't last long. It did really
No,
didn't. I
it
think
did
I
not.
think they patched it and removed it in like a month.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I never really played League. I only played ARAMs.
I think also there's something called Curse Voice back then. It
Mm-hmm.
was like a voice chat just for League of Legends. It's a third party thing like Discord. So
Mm-hmm.
people would literally just copy and paste the Curse Voice like
Mm.
link in the chat, and that's how you would like talk with your team like strangers and play for like a better chance of winning or whatever for better communication. And oh my god, I met really awkward people with that. Like, I can see why they chat only.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of worrisome to think about how, because COVID what lasted for like 2 years basically, 1 2 years, and there's like people, like younger kids who like grew up in that kind of environment in like a very pivotal time in their life for like social development, right? And I feel like we're seeing it now in a lot of cases where people are very good at communicating in person or like having the social awareness among younger kids like Gen what gen is it? Millennials? Not millennials. Boomer? Not boomers. Zoomers?
Millennials is older. I think I'm at the cutoff for millennials. So it's like I don't know what the beginning of millennials are, but I know like that cutoff is like mid 1990s. I think you guys are both Gen Z, right?
We are the cutoff year. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Or
1997
millennials?
is 1997 is Gen Z.
Oh,
Wait,
Gen
it's
Z.
Gen
You guys are
Z?
Gen Z. You
Oh
guys are
boy.
Gen Z.
Gosh,
Hmm.
I'm old. Oh, but I don't think
You said you're old. You're Gen Z.
I'm
It's
so
like the
old.
most recent one, isn't it?
No, there's a newer one, isn't there?
Oh,
There's a newer
generation.
one now.
There's a new one. There is a new
There
one.
is a new one. I'm pretty sure there's a new
But
one.
What is
Gen Z
that
is still
called?
considered like pretty young.
Yeah.
New Jeans is catered toward Gen Z.
Damn. Well, I do like New Jeans. I do like the
Right,
new
you're
scene.
a target demographic for New Jeans.
No. I mean, TikTok is for Gen Z
Gen
too.
Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure. I feel like definitely during COVID, a lot of people did start wanting to be like social media careers. I feel like that's become a big boom in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. Everyone wants to be a streamer, YouTuber, TikToker. There's
I
even like
think because of COVID, there's a stronger online social media influx presence than there
Yeah.
was before because of just so much online presence in general from all over everywhere.
yeah. So
But the thing is, the type of influencers that they look for now are really different from what it was pre-COVID. I think pre-COVID it was just people who like traveled a lot, had a really glamorous lifestyle that people wanted to mimic, and now it's people who other people find relatable and real and
Yes,
authentic.
I was gonna say
Um,
relatable content.
yeah, so like the even though I think that might be due to like COVID, a lot of it is due to COVID because like the people who were famous for traveling a lot, like really luxury and like glamorous stuff, they couldn't really do much of that without being like shunned for going out a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think people who were big influencers then and are still big influencers now had to kind of pivot their niche to become more relatable. So, and then now like the ones who come out are a lot of TikTok influencers, and I feel like most of the days now to get famous off of TikTok, you have to be really relatable and just have a personality that people like to watch.
I think that is definitely one route. The other route I've seen a lot of is people would just do very
Stupid.
controversial or very polarizing content because it gets a lot more engagement and also gets a lot more views.
Like licking the toilet seat.
Yeah, like like licking the toilet seat.
But the thing is, like, do they get followers from that, or do they just get kind of famous?
I think they do.
I think it's a mix
Those
of both.
kind of hand in hand to some extent, right?
Some
And,
people
like, from
follow
watching
just
stuff.
to like get more of that stuff on their feed.
Yeah. And the one thing I've learned is that people love arguing about stuff online. They
That
Oh
is
my
really
goodness.
true.
they will just
Chronicle online people.
they will just fucking just keep over weird type comments.
I don't even like look at comments for videos that like go viral because you're sure there's gonna be like one big hater and they're just gonna like respond to every single comment.
It's like, what are
Have
they
you guys
called?
ever opened up a thread of one of those comment threads?
For
Oh yeah,
arguing?
they like
Comment
argue
threads.
back and forth with each other.
They're
And stuff.
so funny.
It's pretty funny,
It's
but
so childish. It's actually
yeah.
so ridiculous. Like I will like go onto one of the profiles and find out that like it's literally like a 43-year-old man arguing with like this like a 15-year-old. Like bro.
And it's hard because like people will do this because they know that their online persona or profile, it's pretty anonymous to their real life. So you can just create a new account, no one will know who you are, you can just type whatever you want. There's no regulation.
Dude, some of these people are fearless though. Like that 43-year-old man I just said as an example. Like he had content that he posts, and I saw one of them, and it's all the same thing where the dude actually has like an ego. He thinks he's like the best in the world with all the content and stuff like that. It's very representative. Like it's not unexpected.
Yeah. It's weird because like I think other countries like China and like Korea, they kind of make you link your ID and stuff to your online account, so you can kind of be responsible for doing things online. I feel like to an extent, I feel like we should maybe implement that because there are people who like do actually harmful things on the internet.
Right? Like smurfing?
Like literally like they're like crimes on the internet, but
God, yeah, I fucking hate Smurfs, dude. Like, they ruin my ranked games all the time. It's like crazy. I don't know. Can't relate.
Like, oh my god.
But
I can't believe you said
Smurfing. The thing about the way that Korea and China does it with like linking your social online presence to like one number, there is the argument for privacy and freedom of speech and that kind of stuff. No, because do we really trust the government to be regulating all of our online content, all the things that we say online?
No.
Like right now, I think the most regulation that we've seen from speech online is from like the private companies and on the social media. So like Twitter, they'll do the regulation. So it's up to them to do it, and they're already doing this bad of a job, and they probably know technology more than the government. Do we really think the government's going to do a better job regulating content online?
I mean, I think the only thing that needs to be regulated is like I think smurfing whatever is fine. Like you can like say whatever on the internet, but as long as like not harmful, you know. But there's definitely people out there who like, well, I guess there are special forces or special task forces assigned to these. I watched like a documentary or like a YouTube docuseries a while ago, and it was about this special team. I think it was actually a group of people who just were really passionate about keeping children safe on the internet. So they will create a lot of fake TikTok and like other social media profiles posing as like minors, and then it was kind of disgusting because a lot of full-grown men like with a lot of like men and women with a lot of information on their social media profiles would try to like meet up with this fake minor, and they actually were able to
Catch them, basically.
catch a few of them like based off of the information they had on the internet. So like I guess like even if you think that you're anonymous on the internet, there's always ways to find out more information, just because a lot of these people, they just like don't think there's any repercussions, so they just overshare a little bit. But the internet's still dangerous though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I probably won't let my kids have social medias until like middle school.
I think I would agree with that. I think I didn't get my like first cell phone until like freshman year of high school, and I feel like I'm kind of glad that I didn't get more
Mhm.
exposure to that social media world until like later on, you know.
Yeah.
But back when I was a kid, I was like, God, everyone has a phone. I want a phone, mom. I want a phone, dad. I want a computer. But no.
Yeah, I really wanted a phone like really early on, but honestly there was no point in me having a phone because I think back then people used back in my day, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but back in my day we used like online chat thingies to talk to each other. So
AIM?
yeah, AIM. I think I used my sister's AIM account because I didn't make an email until really late too. So I would like use her account and I like chat to my friends after school on AIM. And then there was a phase where everyone was like using this web chat thing called like Ubu or something. I don't
Oh
know if you
my
guys were around for that
god!
phase.
I
But
remember
that was
that.
dangerous too. That was like weird too. Because I think um I met a lot of random like older kids through Ubu. And like my first interaction with them would be through like a video call.
Holy moly, that brought back so many memories.
Yeah,
Uvu.
I remember that. But kids like still like
OOVOO.
even if you don't let them have a social media or if you don't like let them near technologies, they'll still find their own way to like get access
Yeah,
to it. Like just thinking about like myself back when I was a kid.
I
So
think there's just so much more to do with like teaching your kids on
just how to be
like just
safe.
morally and like just common sense on safety.
Hmm.
It's like there's so many videos out there like how I mean of course they get their parents' consent on how easy it is to like actually like trick their kids into
Hmm.
coming out to meet them at a park and like they would
So
lie to
scary.
their parents and then it's like there's a whole show about it too. It's actually insane.
I think I've seen clips of that show on my TikTok actually.
Yeah, I think I saw it there too.
I
Scary.
Like the parents. Huh?
huh?
Hmm?
No, go ahead, Duco. Parents.
I was just gonna say that yeah, the parents were even like they firmly believe and trusted in their kids that they wouldn't get tricked.
Hmm.
To their strong disbelief, they were proven wrong.
Was it the videos where it was like someone's posing as like a gas pressure checker and they I think the one I watched was like they ring the doorbell and they're like, oh, like we're with a gas company, um, or checking to see if like or they got a reading that like there's a gas leak. Can we come in? And the kid will be home alone and then I think out of all the videos I watched, like every single one of them opened the door.
That's
Wow.
so scary.
Yeah. I'm sure that's content as well, but the ones I saw was like, um, it was an online friend that they made,
Mm,
and they were like posed to be like a 14-year-old.
that's
What were you
scary.
saying, Merton?
Oh, I was gonna. I just had like a question come up to my mind after. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of a topic switch though. So, um,
I mean, I think we've just been changing topics while we talk anyway, because
yeah.
we
Yeah.
went and did that from end of COVID days, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is our first time doing a podcast, so for people who are watching, I was just wondering since we were talking so much about uh, the rising of the social media presence from both
Mm.
creators and users,
Yeah.
it was like you would argue that the boom of that social online presence happened during COVID, and now we're coming down from it. So, how do you guys feel about people who are starting kind of their content creating presence online now and they're behind the curve? How do you guys
I
think?
mean, I think that's really tough to say without like major statistics behind that information.
But it's true,
Because you
right?
could
'Cause
also, I mean, one could also argue that it's still boomed. It doesn't mean like you can't really tell that it's gonna go down now. It's like, for all we know, like all those like friends that weren't gamers that we had, they
Mm.
still come back from time to time to play games, and they still like, they still watch content and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Not like they're completely off the charts. and then
yeah, that's true. I think there are people who are also say like we're entering more into the digital age, so that you can argue that
right,
the more that time
just
goes
because
on-
it's bigger now as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a little like it's like
I think what
what
you're
if we
saying, I don't
started
think it's
earlier,
enough.
right? Yeah.
It's what if we started earlier?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that you might have had like a better chance if you're like very original and stuff like that. But I don't think like it significantly reduces anyone's chance right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it,
Yeah,
OTV's
I agree.
popped
You're
off
talking about like
around
riding the
10.
wave kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of the people you've met during COVID as well were people who popped off in that community, right? In the TikTok, Instagram.
I mean, I guess I can speak a little bit more about this because I've been like a quote unquote creator for longer. Because I was around during like the pre-COVID era, I created and like kind of grew my TikTok pretty quickly during COVID, like before everyone kind of started going on to TikTok. And then I think now I'm like more of a casual creator now. But I don't think it's ever too late, and I don't think there's ever gonna be like no audience for you. It's just a matter of I definitely think it was easier in terms of TikTok at least towards the beginning because I would literally do like unoriginal content, just random content, and then I would close my TikTok app for a week, not check it, and then like next time I logged in, I would have at least like 5K more followers just posting like a random lip syncing video. But now you can't really do that.
That's
Now you have
crazy.
to actually like do creative content. But granted, like I don't know how quality those followers were back then, but it was just like the growth I felt back then was uncomparable to anything. Similar with like Reels when I first started, when they first launched Reels, um, anything you post would kind of go viral just because there weren't as many real videos out there for people to scroll through. And then now, obviously, when you post things, you'll have more competition. But if something is unique and like people like it, people want to share it, it's still gonna go viral, and you'll still like grow from that. But it's just a little bit harder. But I think a part of like being a creator is you always have to be aware of new platforms coming up because I think when I was starting off on TikTok, people were really unsure about TikTok because TikTok was previously Musically, and Musically wasn't um how do I put this, like not everyone liked Musically, so people weren't sure about how well TikTok was gonna do. And even when TikTok kind of blew up and a lot of people were using TikTok, we weren't sure like if it was gonna stay around as something or it would go away like some other social media platforms that kind of popped up during COVID. um so I think it's just like a lot of uncertainty, but usually from my experience, if you jump onto a trend beforehand, it does give you like a little bit of a boost and an advantage in terms of visibility just because there's less content circulating. But I don't think it's ever too late to gain a following. Because right now if you this is like we're still like in the beauty community, I guess. But right now one of the most popular beauty creators, she actually started making content maybe like in the past 3 months. And then she just does a lot of relatable like story time videos while she does her makeup. And obviously in her case, joining late and then starting posting videos late wasn't really an issue because she kind of blew up and is doing really well now. So I don't think even though maybe like it won't happen as fast, but I think just putting out content there and then just as long as you're putting out good content, eventually one of your videos will do well, and then you don't know what happens after that.
I completely agree with that. I don't think riding the wave should define your um, process of like getting followers. I think it helps, but if you're like putting out good content, like May said, you're bound to like gain followers in the long run anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely feel more saturated now. Definitely feels like it's becoming more normal to make videos, and because everyone I feel like has like a very ideal romanticized version of doing social media. But I've also heard on the flip side that there's a lot of scary stories about how bad it is for your mental health and how people like don't like they don't do social media for very long. It's a means to an end, you know. We do have a question though from chat that's just asking what you guys think about cancel culture nowadays. So if you guys feel like you have any opinions
Thanks
about
for the
it.
great question. Biscuit. Cancel culture. I honestly, to an extreme of like, okay, like if the guy's like a freaking mass murderer and like killed like 5,000
Mass
babies,
murder.
What?
I think
That's a
yes,
weird
that guy
extreme
deserves
version
to
of
be
it.
canceled. Okay, but if it's like one person made a mistake and they're gonna be labeled for that for the rest of their life and canceled for that, I don't really believe in that. I honestly believe in second chances and like it's like you shouldn't be defined by your mistake, right? Because there's so many arguments on like how you better yourself. You learn from your mistakes. You become a better person. But if
Mhm.
it's like a very like right, like I think it really has to do with like what you really did. Like if
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think outside of extremes, I just I feel like you need to make your best judgment and feel what you like. Go with how you feel the person that you're following or the content creator that you're following, how you think of
Mhm.
them really. Because I'm really into YouTube videos, and like back then, every other week there's always like a big creator, something happened to them, and they have to like release a oh I'm sorry video, you know, and there's so many of them too, like so many I'm
right?
sorry videos, and it's like crazy. And the thing is, you can kind of tell which ones are more genuine and which ones are not, because a lot
Yeah.
of them are
Because they
just
will actually actively try. They'll
Mhm.
post that kind of content as well.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Cancel culture is kind of like a side product of social media.
Mhm.
Um, I think it can be warranted, but it's also hard to say sometimes when the person that you're trying to make a judgment on is someone that you have never met in real life and is just a figure on screen. They're probably using their persona. Really hard to determine.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with what both of you guys said. I think culture is a little toxic, but there's also been cases where like people have been canceled for like straight on crimes. So in that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we should stop completely supporting someone if they like committed a crime. Um, but I think a most recent case I can think of is this beauty TikToker got canceled because she was doing like a mascara review, and then people are it's never been confirmed, but people are speculating that for like the after for the mascara review, she put on false lashes. So kind of giving her audience a false perception of how well the product
Mm,
works. And I think the her like brand is that she's like very authentic. She's like before TikTok, she was just like a random like person, like a normal person. So people found her content really relatable. And I think the funny thing is like she made a video in the past where it's like don't believe in like mascara company ads because a lot of times they'll like do it before and then go off camera and then put on false lashes and then give you an after, and that's essentially what she did in her videos supposedly. But I don't think something like that where yeah it's like she did something bad and she like spread false information to her followers, but it's not like a crime or life or death. I think if she like made a apology video or just acknowledged her mistake and went back to
right.
creating content, I think it should be fine. But I think the thing with her is she didn't really make an apology just yet. But it's also never been confirmed that she actually did it. People just highly speculated it, so
Yeah.
it's a weird.
Like yeah, I think instead of cancel culture, what I really wish for the community, online community, show more is like something more of like a redemption culture,
Mm-hmm.
where you like depending on how severe it is, like you give that person however much time that they use and need really, instead of like a 1 day later, I'm sorry, like half-ass sorry, and then they're like
Mm-hmm.
going back to content. Like I'm gonna be, this might be really controversial, but let's say this is a makeup story as well. Let's say this guy had a
Mass
really
murder.
bad like environment growing up, and like he had like an abusive father, abusive mother, like he got orphaned, and then now he doesn't treat his kids. And then let's say like he messed up 1 day and got caught like slapping his kid in public, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think and then his job as a content creator, and then he got canceled, let's say for like 5 10 years. He tries to come back and he's like genuinely like a changed man. He went to so much like therapy and like whatever rehab you have to go to like remediate like all your like how to like treat your kids, how to like treat relationships, family. Like he's generally like one of the best people in the world now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would forgive that person.
Mm-hmm.
I would like start watching his content again. Granted, it's good content.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with you too. It's just it's so hard for that kind of situation to happen where you know the full picture. I think in most cases you'll never have the full picture of the person behind the screen. We'll never like if they show, like you said, if they show like enough of an evidence that they've grown into a better person, then yeah, for sure. But it's so hard to, just based on videos that they posted and things that probably have an intention to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to take it out. Like,
Right, that's the
face
thing though.
value.
Like with cancel culture, people are so freaking quick to judge. You don't know what that person went through, what caused them to act that way.
Yeah.
Like
I
everyone is not a therapist in like how they think that way.
Yeah, I agree.
They just, yeah. I think that's a huge problem with cancel culture.
Yeah.
Mm.
But there's no easy solution to this.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, it's also depends on how desperate, maybe not desperate is the word, but how much effort they put in, how much dedication that content creator has to like be alive through content again, then they gotta show it. They really have to show it.
Yeah.
Because quite like frankly, it is still their fault for putting themselves in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So they better work really hard to reverse that situation. Like
Mm.
show all the evidence, show how much work you've put into bettering yourself, and like actually try to be forgiven instead of. I really hate those like half-ass sorry response videos.
Yeah, me too.
Because they just get roasted in the end anyway. In the video.
I see so many of the memes where they just like type the sorry letter in ChatGPT and it's exactly word for
Oh my
word.
god. I remember a couple of years ago there's one adultery one where like there's the guy's sorry post. The girl literally copied and pasted it and just switched like 3 or 4 words, literally.
God, like those people are so stupid. Like what?
Like what?
Like even it's just I cannot believe the audacity they have to do that kind of stuff.
Like how dumb do you think your viewers are? I mean, granted, some people are, but you know.
Oh my gosh, it's just why it's wild to me.
Also, what I really hate is the opposite, not in terms of redemption, but the stans, the die-hard stans, like the crazy obsessive fans that will forgive no matter what they do. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I like Jake Paul fans.
There's a
for
couple
example.
content creators I know that should really actually be canceled because there's so much evidence on their crimes that they say they didn't do, and all that stuff. Literally like lying about this, like donating, like they racked up like $30,000 in money, like
Yeah,
donating to this.
the NFT scam that they did.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
I
there's so
I don't know
many.
about NFT, but
No.
that person like still makes content, has millions of followers, and they're like they just got buried.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I think May knows exactly who I'm talking about though, because we've
I
had this
can-
conversation before about this particular.
I can only think about there's like a TikToker. I think she like had a fundraiser or a GoFundMe for like whatever country she's from, right?
Yeah.
And then she never posted her like making the actual donation, and she never like followed up about the GoFundMe after she reached her goal. So people are just like, oh, she probably like just like took that money because she was. I think she still creates content now. But yeah, people
It
don't
says a
know what
lot.
happened.
Like it's so easy to just post the results to like clear your name, and if you can't do that much, then it's kind of saying something that maybe it's really true, right?
Yeah.
Talking about cancel culture, the one I can always think of right now, the one that's more prevalent to me is the one with Harry Potter and Hogwarts Legacy and J.K. Rowling. It's just it's like J.K. Rowling, obviously, not a great person. You could say she's probably a horrible person, right? very anti LGBTQ plus views, and has shown no signs of redemption, right? So obviously, cancel culture there is like probably justified, but the fact that people are using it in a way to target other people that aren't following her views but just want to support Hogwarts Legacy developers or the game in general, I think that's a little bit out of line. But the issue is very, very complex and nuanced, and I think
Yeah.
it's very hard to cover.
It's hard to think just one way about that.
Yeah, and it's just in that case, I feel like there are people in that situation where they're just like sending death threats to people who are, you know, playing and streaming the game, and I obviously don't think that's the way to go about it.
I never think death threats are the way to go about it.
I think there are better ways, but it's just there are people who do that, and I don't think that is very healthy.
Yeah.
That being said, we are reaching almost the hour and 30 mark, so I think we should probably wrap it up for today's podcast. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me today, May, David, Dko.
Did you forget my name?
No, I was trying to figure out whether they call you Dko or David. Which one do you prefer? I'm having so much trouble like introducing you, like people that are close friends, but they have like nicknames or alternative names that they want to use. I just. Do you prefer
I think
Dko?
it's just easier to go with Dko because that's more of my online presence.
Okay, sure. So from now on, I'll just refer to you as Dko, at least within online space.
Yeah.
But yeah, for everyone who's watching, thank you. We appreciate it. If you guys want to see or listen back to the podcast later on, we will try to post this on YouTube for everyone to see. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We're trying to make this a weekly podcast, and obviously there are changes that we might make later on, like potentially having face cams, but we're gonna have to discuss more about that later on. But yeah, expected to see it next week sometime, maybe Sunday again. But yeah, thank you guys for
Thanks for
joining
having me.
Yeah, of course. It's not like we hang out every day anyways.
No different. This is just us without games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is actually the longest time I think we just talked about. No, that's not true. That's not
No,
true.
like after
Nah,
we
we've
game, we
definitely talked.
usually stay on Discord and just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice though to have like an outlet to talk about stuff though. But yeah.
No, dude, I felt so limited. But when we started planning this, I was like, shoot, I don't know what to talk about. And yeah, I want to save this.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, that was Valorant.
I can play like one game, but I might have to cover for someone for 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m.
No.
But I'm not closing or anything, so I should be able to come back like soon.
We could probably just play after you're done. I don't even know if we can get 5 right now, honestly.
Not true. I mean, if we do, I can play just 1 or 2 games max until I get back, or until I find out that I don't have to go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is that 6 you said?
Yeah, essentially, if I do go, it's gonna be a